went back and looked, what kind of happened after the first quarter? You guys got off to a fast start, and then things kind of went south.
Yeah, starts with taking care of the football. Right, we turned the ball over twice in opponent territory. One for a touchdown the other way. That's a number one. And then we just had some instances where we shot ourselves in the foot. Had an explosive run called back on a penalty. Kind of stalled drives with penalties. We had a big OPI penalty that was our only other 3 and out of the game, other than the opening drive. So just some things that we got to clean up, so that we can be more consistent.
It seems like that's been a constant recurrence, like throughout the year. It seems like this team, at least offensively, hasn't played complimentary football for 4 quarters. How can you get that from these guys?
Yeah, the good thing is everybody in there has been extremely encouraging in terms of how they've approached the week and the consistency of their preparation and trying to stay focused on improving on all those little details. So we just got to stay at it and look for ways to try to polish out some of those rough spots and play complementary football, because we've done it for small stretches. We just need to put it together for 4 quarters.
The pick six, how shocking was that? If you could just walk us through that play, because obviously he threw it right to the guy, but how shocking is it to see Aaron make a play like that?
This is a bang bang league. There's a lot of really talented athletes with a lot of unbelievable athletic ability, and sometimes the spacing of things down there in the tight red zone can get on you fast. Obviously, if Aaron saw 99, he wouldn't have thrown it there. So shocking's probably a pretty strong word. I've been in this business for a long time. Mistakes happen, and sometimes you stub your toe. But we got to do a better job of how we respond to those moments. So it wasn't as much about that moment to me as about how we responded.
How this has been a tough stretch for everybody this season, just from your perspective and everything that's happened. Just how difficult has it been for you personally, just with everything that's happened?
I think it's difficult for everybody. We're all competitors, number one. Number two, I try to come in and serve every day and find ways to help people be the best version of themselves, both on the field and hopefully make an impact off the field as well. And we haven't got the on-the-field part down yet. And so, that's very disappointing. It's difficult to feel like you were asked to help in a situation or see if you can make an impact when the change occurred. And to this point, we haven't had better results. But I am proud of the fact that we've all stuck together. And I'm proud of the fact that the character of the offense hasn't wavered, and that everybody's rowing in the same direction. There are times where guys have been pensive in thought and sitting around and thinking about things, but they always find a way to answer the bell and go out and practice or have good meetings or show up with energy for one another. So we need to continue that and then play better football, and obviously I need to coach better and finish this thing strong.
Why do you think you haven't had those results that I think a lot of people anticipated?
Honestly, it has been such a collection of things that we don't have time before my next meeting to go through. But at the appropriate time, we'll sit down and identify all those things, and certainly have a list for you at some point.
I know you have the 24-hour rule. You let everything go, but Breece was pretty upset after the game and fumble. How do you think he's come back and responded this week?
I'm going to start with Breece prior to the fumble. This guy has worked his tail off, man, and he has shown us a whole new level of his professionalism and the way he's approached things this year. He's one of the guys that I mentioned that I'm proud of the character of this offense. So it doesn't surprise me at all that Breece was hard on himself, because he cares that much and he's been working that hard. We believe wholeheartedly in his ability to help us win football games and be an integral part of this offense. That fumble stung, but it's a blip on the radar, and I know that everybody in that locker room expects Breece to be back as his joyful self here pretty soon.
What is the confidence that you have in this team, especially when you have guys like Breece and some, I'm sure other people are not, are down about the season that they have? Just your confidence that they will continue to fight in these last 5 games.
Yeah, they're doing it for each other, and it's easy if you isolate. To have negative thought life and have a negative outcome expectancy. But when you're together with your brothers and someone lifts you up and is willing to sacrifice their own needs or their selfish feelings, to help you through the day. That's the stuff that is going to carry you, through the rest of these 5 weeks, and that's what we have between coaches and players and player to player, coaches to coach. It's really a unique group of people, which makes it hurt even more that we're not seeing the results that we want, because everybody does care about each other so much.
So one of the analytics sites had Olu with 0 pressures and like 40-something pass blocks. Is that kind of what you had, and what did you think of his pass protection of the game?
First, I'll say, with all due respect, I've never looked at an analytics site. I watched the tape. And I think Olu's growing each week. I think his professionalism is growing as well. I think he's very fortunate to be in a room where he has tackles like Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses to show him the way. And so I think he's been making market improvements every single week, and I expect him to continue to do the same.
Where are you seeing him grow the most?
I would say there are a couple things. Number one, his finish and his physicality has started to jump off the tape a little bit more, in terms of just the confidence of being able to finish blocks and sustain down the field. And then his communication. I think he's doing a good job of identifying some things on the field and being able to communicate with the tight ends, be able to communicate with John. It's been fun to watch those guys grow in that way.
What do you think of the running back room overall? I mean, so Isaiah scored last week. Braylon's obviously had a role. What do you think about what you have in there?
Yeah, I think a very, very talented room. And, I mean, if it weren't for the 3 above him, I mean, I'd love to get Kene some opportunities, with his speed and playmaking ability. I think it's a well-rounded room. I think there's good complementary pieces there. And, I want to take the opportunity to tell you what a wonderful coach they have. Tony Dews has been working his tail off getting those guys ready. He has showed them. He is led with humility and showed them how to be a professional who wants to be in there every play, but understands that that's not, possible with one running back out there for most snaps that we have. But man, he has them ready to go, and they play hard and they work really hard during the week.
How big is a guy like Alan Lazard getting him back this week potentially for the offense?
Yeah, Alan's outstanding. He kind of knows all the roles and everybody's rules. So there are times you see him out there reminding somebody of what they have, or communicating about a leverage of a DB or something like that. He's a very smart football player. He brings a physicality and a toughness in the run game, where he's willing to go do some dirty work. But then he possesses the ability to make plays down the field. So we're excited to have Alan in that kind of return to play mode, and hopefully we can get him involved here pretty quick.
How did you just handle this stretch? You had the down year last year, comes back, has the strong start, and the injury pops up just with Allen. How have you seen him sort of navigate this injury stretch?
Yeah, he's been incredible. Such a great teammate. He's taken the time with the injury to really invest in the young guys in the room and try to be, that veteran voice and to help them out and help them along. He's done some tape study on his own where he's, talking about what he sees on tape. I mean, he's been great with me on the sideline, talking to me about stuff he's seeing out there. And sometimes players come to you with stuff, and as a coach, you have to take it with a grain of salt until you get over there to the tablet and see if it's true or not. But with Allen, he's spot on, 99% of the time, and so it's fun to have another set of eyes out there. I'm not sure that it'll be in his plans down the road, but if he ever wants to get into coaching, I would certainly support him. He knows what he's looking at.
Heading into the Miami game this weekend, what are you looking like as an overall unit to improve on from the last week into this week?
It's a catchphrase that you guys are going to roll your eyes at, but consistency. We have to put it all together for 4 quarters. As I mentioned earlier, I think we've shown who we can be as an offense in small stretches, but unfortunately that's fizzled out like a bottle rocket. And we need to find a way to sustain and have consistency. To do that, I think our guys are going to have to focus on playing with joy and energy and be able to have that next shot mentality. And if something bad happens, which it's the NFL, something bad can certainly happen. We need to move on and be consistent throughout the game.